Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Cross Break Action Laser mod, which is being made by user Niero, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a fun new laser rifle that loads more like an old school shotgun, and I love it. As, I mean, come on, it adds in a whole new interesting bit of flair to the energy weapon category, and thankfully the mod maker has also created an invented lore reason for as to why it exists in the Commonwealth, and I do always love when mod makers go that extra mile. And the basic gist of the story is that General Atomics created these as a civilian counterpart to the AER-9 laser rifle they sold to the military, but these ones being sold to civilians, marketed as basically laser varmint rifles. And that is a wonderful idea, but eventually hobbyists got their hands on the rifles and made all sorts of crazy modifications that now you, too, can enjoy. So what exactly do we get when we install the mod? Well, let us go and take a look at a break action laser rifle here. And as you can see, it does, of course, bear striking resemblance to a standard laser rifle, being modeled after it, but does have a unique flair that is all its own, which I do very much enjoy. Now, I'm gonna call this the most standard version, but really there's technically 3 standard versions, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But this version, the Scatterer break action laser, will do 50 damage with energy cells, having a firing rate of 33, range of 155, accuracy of 20, and a weight of 3.5. And overall is a pretty useful little weapon. Of course, being a scatterer is basically an energy shotgun with a little bit longer of a distance than a traditional shotgun, and overall is a very fun and entertaining weapon, and with various modifications can become many other things. Now, the reason why I say that there are technically 3 standard versions is because of the muzzle. You have basically 3 different muzzles, one that makes it a scatterer, one that makes it a beam discharge weapon, and one that makes it a energy bolt lobbing device, basically an energy grenade launcher, and I love it so much. It's my favorite version of the weapon. And yeah, so technically you could have all the other modifications of the weapon to standard, but then have the muzzle be one of those 3. Now, as for how you do get your hands on one of these things, it's actually pretty simple. You'll start seeing them spawn in the world at around level 15 on pretty much any enemy that would normally carry a laser weapon. So basically, you know, gunners, things like that, you will find these on. You also will find them on vendors, so you should find them around the world in shops. Legendary versions will, of course, also start spawning on legendary enemies. And, well, you can also make your own fairly easily by simply going to any chemistry station in the game, heading down to utility, and there we go, with rank 1 in science and rank 1 in gun nut, along with some various materials, you can create a basic break action laser rifle, which is quite cool, so you can get your hands on one of these pretty quickly. Now, as for the various modifications, let's go have a look at the workbench here, and just grab our standard scatterer, and in the first category we have is the core, where we have our various capacitors, where we have standard, boosted photon, maximized, and overcharged. So not a huge selection in here, but, you know, good enough to bump up your damage, especially with the overcharged. You gotta love that. And then we have the grip category, which has 3, a no grip, which honestly I don't know why you'd use it. Sure, it lowers the weight, but it gives you an aiming penalty. So yeah, there you go. Then they short grip, and of course a long stock for, you know, better recoil, increased bash damage, etc. Now the next is our sights category, where we have a iron sights, a hollow lobber sight, a hollow reflex sight, a combat scope, and a long range scope. just for whichever weapon you are needing, which is always useful. Then again, we come to that muzzle category I did talk about, where we either have the scatter arc, the fusion lobber, or the discharger, just depending on if you want a shotgun, a beam weapon, or effectively an energy grenade launcher. And that, oh boy, is wonderful. Very, very wonderful. And then finally, we do have a skin category, which is quite cool if you do want to mess around and, you know, give it a little bit more style. Now, we have the classic laser skin here, which is, you know, just the standard sort of laser design, just like the AER9. We do have a legendary skin that's for the Institute that you have to go and find out in the world. Then, of course, a Brotherhood skin, a camo, a classic wood with wooden furniture, a fully wooden frame, a Minuteman, and finally a Red Army. And yeah, so just nice to have different camo patterns, etc. on here. Again, just to brighten it up a bit and add a little bit of uniqueness to your particular gun. And that is the various modifications, so not a huge amount of things, but with them you can really mess around with basically 3 different kinds of weapons, creating, ultimately, my personal favorite, the break action laser lobber, which does 200 damage with that overcharge capacitor. It is very fun. So let us take a look at these being shot and that wonderful break action that we do have to these. So of course, let's start with the standard scatterer, and you'll notice we have 3 shots with it, and here are the iron sights, so let's fire. And then a nice reload. There we go, with that break action there. You gotta love that. I don't know why, but it just feels cool. And yeah, so you don't have a huge amount of ammo in this thing for, you know, before you have to reload, but still, that whole break action, I just find highly entertaining and just overall very cool to use. So there we go, that is the scatterer. Let's have a look at the discharge, which of course is more a standard laser beam. There we are, reload, perfect. And of course, with this, you could create a pretty powerful laser sniper rifle. Now, I didn't go with the best capacitor you could get on this one, but with the overcharge, it could become a pretty decent mid to end game sniper rifle. And finally, my personal favorite, the lobber. As, I mean, come on, it's a grenade launcher, effectively, and has a pretty cool hollow scope. Though, as you can see, when it's daytime and you're kind of looking up at the brightness of the sky, it disappears very, very easily, since it is sort of a light red color. But at nighttime, or in darker situations, it is actually quite nice. And, of course, lob. Oh, yeah. Now, you have to reload after each individual shot with this thing. But I mean, come on, it's an energy grenade launcher, and now the water was just on fire for a moment. That's hilarious. Okay, so that is our 3 different versions of this wonderful break action rifle. So that means it's time to test it on our usual poor subjects over here. So let's see if we can arc one of these nicely over towards Will there. So let's try and get our sighting in there. A little bit lower, I think. All right, let's take aim. And fire. Oh, a little bit behind him, but still got him. Now, where is Randy the Radstag? Oh, there he is, way in the back. Let's see if we can get him. Oh, no, it actually oh, it hit the tree. It hit the tree, of course. Let's hit there. I think we got a gap. And we got him in one shot, too. Perfect. I mean, it's 200 damage, and it's an explosive, so it's wonderfully good time. And sets the water on fire, which I find hilarious. But yes, that is the cross break action laser mod, which is a pretty fun addition into the game. I love that we have the 3 different categories of weapon that you can create with it, and then modify from there further with the various modifications. and to create just whatever it is that you're trying to make. That is always fun to have. It gives you a lot more options. But that is really all I've got for this mod. If you would like to check it out for yourself, and I would definitely suggest that you go and do that, you can take a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that is going to be it for today, so I hope you all have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next episode, when hopefully we'll be looking at yet another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one!